A second Game of Thrones Season 7 trailer is out, and there is a heap of cool stuff in here, so let's have a look. We get some great shots of Dragonstone, the old island stronghold of the Targaryens, where Daenerys has finally arrived. Dragonstone looks way crazier in the books, with huge stone dragons and hundreds of gargoyles. It's also a volcanic island, with caves full of obsidian or dragon glass, one of the only materials known that can kill White Walkers, so Dragonstone's obsidian should be really important this season. Dragonstone was held by the Targaryens for centuries, until Robert Baratheon took over and gave the island to his brother Stannis. This is Stannis' banner here. But now Stannis is dead and Dany's arrived, it's time to redecorate. Dany takes down the banner, symbolically returning the castle to her family. She again looks over the painted table map of Westeros, representing her plans to conquer the kingdoms. We also see Dany's dragon Drogon, who's huge now. Look how tiny Dany is, perched on his back. Drogon's looking a lot like Balerion the Black Dread, the famous dragon of Aegon the Conqueror, who first took Westeros 300 years ago. Dany is very much walking in her ancestors' footsteps. To take Westeros, though, Dany's got to sail from Dragonstone to the mainland, which should be easy, but we see she's attacked at sea by Euron Greyjoy. And Euron doesn't play fair. He uses some explosive fiery weapon against Dany's fleet, which Yara and Theon aren't too keen on. Yara leaps into battle, cause she's Yara fucking Greyjoy, while Theon stands and looks upset, cause he's Theon fucking Greyjoy. Theon at least does survive. We see him collapsing on a beach, like in Planet of the Apes, but it looks like this battle goes well for Euron, cause we then see him sailing into King's Landing. This red smudge on the Greyjoy kraken on his sails might represent Euron's heraldry in the books, a red eye with a crown and crows. Euron might have come to visit Queen Cersei. Maybe he's being welcomed into the city in this shot, or maybe someone else, it's hard to say. Either way, the relationship between Euron and Cersei could be a really big deal this season. Cersei, for her part, is standing in what might be the basement of the Red Keep, where they keep the old Targaryen dragon skulls from years ago. Maybe Cersei has finally realized that Daenerys and her dragons are a threat, and is trying to work out how to slay dragons. For the record, dragons in Game of Thrones have been killed with scorpion bolts, arrows, even by angry peasants when they're trapped indoors. So Dany's dragons can definitely be killed, and there's also the possibility they might be magically mind-controlled by someone like Bran, or Bloodraven, or Euron in the books, or even by the Night King. So Dany's dragons are powerful, but shit can and probably will happen to them. For now, though, Dany and her dragons are kicking ass. We see a huge battle, with Dany on Drogon with Dothraki attacking some Lannister soldiers, including Jaime and Bronn. Things get hot and heavy, what with all the dragon fire, which is reminiscent of a huge battle from Aegon's conquest, called the Field of Fire, when the Targaryens used 3 dragons to roast thousands of men on the battlefield. So these Lannister chumps will be barbecued, but what about Jaime? We see him charging across the burning field. Who's he attacking? Surely not Dany and her dragons, right? Or he'd be eaten alive. Then again, Jaime in the books believes he cannot die while Cersei lives, that the twins will die together, as they were born together. There are some amazing theories here, which we'll cover in a Cersei video soon. But yeah, this battle looks pretty crazy. We see Grey Worm have a moment with Missandei before a battle between Dany's Unsullied and the Lannisters. It's possible this castle they're attacking is Casterly Rock, a huge Lannister fortress, and it's interesting that these Unsullied seem to be opening this gate from inside. How'd they get in? This might be part of a plan worked out by Tyrion, because Tyrion grew up in Casterly Rock. This was his home, and when Tyrion was 16, his father Tywin put him in charge of all the drains and cisterns there. Maybe Tyrion knows some back entrances into the rock, so Grey Worm can get in all sneaky-like and open the gates from within, kinda like how Dany took Meereen. So yeah, with Tyrion's tricks on their side, Dany might just capture the Lannisters' strongest castle. Cersei will not be pleased. By the way, we see Jaime walking around some unfamiliar castle, and there's a dead guy on the ground. Did Jaime just lead some attack? On who? This could maybe be Highgarden, the seat of the Tyrells, who, along with the Sand Snakes, are Dany's allies against Cersei. Again, it's ominous that these guys aren't in the trailer. Further north, we see Arya riding, probably to Winterfell, to finally reunite with her long-lost family, Sansa and Jon Snow, who haven't seen Arya since Season 1. Jon and Arya especially were really close early on, so it'll be a hugely emotional moment for the Starks to get back together after all that they've been through. Littlefinger, meanwhile, still seems to be trying to divide them. He says some nonsense about fighting every battle, everywhere, always in your mind, which means something. Littlefinger seems to think himself very clever, but his whole plan seems to hinge on Sansa betraying her family for him, which probably will not happen given that Sansa in the trailer says when the snows fall and the white winds blow, the lone wolf dies but the pack survives. This is what Ned tells Arya way back in Book 1, and it's about Stark solidarity, sticking together to survive. So Sansa won't listen to Littlefinger. In fact, promo shots have shown Arya wearing the Valyrian steel dagger that Littlefinger used to betray Ned. So some fans speculate that Arya and Sansa will kill Littlefinger with his own blade to avenge the death and destruction he brought on their family. Another Stark, Bran, passes through the wall with Meera, and it looks like he too arrives at Winterfell. Here he is in the Godswood with some new wheels. So much has changed since he was last here. It's not clear who the guy standing next to him is. Maybe Davos, or Maester Wolkan, or like a Obi-Wan Force Ghost of Bloodraven? Hard to say. Either way, Bran's psychic powers will be a really big deal this season. For one thing, Bran now knows that Jon Snow's mother is Lyanna Stark, so that'll be a big truth bomb, though the next logical question will be, who's Jon's dad? Also at Winterfell are Brienne and Podrick, name a more iconic duo, I'll wait. We see Jon venture north with an all-star team of warriors, including Tormund and the Hound and Beric Dondarrion with his flaming sword. There are a million reasons why this team is the coolest thing ever. Some of the greatest fighters alive, from opposite sides brought together. Sandor and Beric fought before. In fact, Sandor killed Beric, then he was resurrected. Beric was resurrected, Jon was resurrected. Everyone thought the Hound was dead before he was metaphorically reborn. This is almost a team of the Walking Dead fighting the Walking Dead, because they battle the zombies, the Whites, controlled by the White Walkers. Fans have pointed out that this scene looks a bit like the story of the last hero from the books, who's said to have fought the Walkers thousands of years ago. Apparently, the hero set out into the Deadlands with a sword, a horse, a dog, and 12 companions. And there are 12 companions in this shot. Jon has his sword Longclaw, and his dog could be Ghost, or maybe the Hound. In the story, the last hero's friends were killed, along with his horse and his dog. He even lost his sword. Maybe that's what's happening in these shots of Jon. He's still got a horse and a sword, but he's alone. Have Tormund, Sandor, and Beric been killed? In the story of the last hero, the hero is almost caught by the Walkers, but is saved by the Children of the Forest, those mysterious forest hippies who hung out with Bloodraven. The analogue here might be for Jon to be saved by Bran's magic. We see ravens flying over the army of the dead, one with white eyes. The birds are being magically controlled by Bran. He might use them to attack the Walkers, maybe to save Jon, though he might be too late to help Jon's companions. Bran walking a bird is also a fulfillment of what Bloodraven tells him in Dance, that Bran will never walk again, but he will fly. It's tragic that Bran was robbed of his ability to walk. He wanted to be a knight as a child. But magic gives him the power to do something even higher. A complication, though, might be the connection between Bran and the Night King. We still don't really know the meaning of this mark that the king left on Bran, but it seems to suggest some connection between the two, like some Harry Potter Voldemort shit. We might see some intense psychic battles between Bran and the Night King this season. So there's huge stuff happening in the north and in the south, amidst ice and fire. But there's one more thing that might just happen that could be the greatest moment of all. We get a shot of what looks like the Hound somewhere in the south, maybe in King's Landing, which just happens to be where the mountain is. Sandor and Gregor Clegane are brothers, remember. Years ago, Gregor gave Sandor the burns that disfigured his face, and they've hated each other ever since. They've both changed dramatically over the series. Sandor was symbolically reborn, while Gregor was quite literally reanimated. Fans have speculated for years that these brothers will clash in the greatest Westerosi grudge match imaginable. a combat commonly called Clegane Bowl. It's kinda dumb and probably won't happen, but man, it really would be quite cool. Anyway, this season is gonna be crazy, with heaps of long-awaited moments. Dany at Dragonstone, Euron on the attack, dragons in battle, the fall of the Rock, Stark family reunion, Bran finally flies, and winter arrives at last. Thanks for watching.